Yeah, welcome to the Blue Chip Academy webinar. I'm excited about this, man. We're going to go through some of the services that Blue Chip Academy provides, where it fits into L.I.G Sports Group, and just a little bit of information about Blue Chip Academy, the products, services, and where it fits into everything. I know a lot of people have been introduced by Blue Chip Academy from the different clips from coaches, administrators, executives coming on to the Blueprint to Success interview series, the Blue Chip Academy podcast. So just want to take some time out to go over a little bit of the products and services from Blue Chip Academy. So as a lot of people know, L.I.G Sports Group is a football operations strategy consulting group, executive consulting group, and has different aspects of it and handling different aspects of the sports ecosystem, trying to master the critical points in just the sports business, specifically football when we're talking now. So we have the recruiting process, NIL, different things in college where we have different services, and obviously specialty sourcing. We get into, finding candidates for administrators, head coaches, Fortune 500 companies, kind of that whole unique path and blueprint for typically the elite athlete or just anyone that's interested in high-level sports or using sports as a catalyst to a career that you can bank on. So when we start talking about, the first aspect of L.I.G, we talk about the recruiting process, and that's what Blue Chip Academy is for, and that's what this whole webinar is for, just to kind of have some understanding on how things separate, how things are divvied up, and the services that we provide at Blue Chip Academy. Like I said, you'll hear me say a lot, using sports as a catalyst is a career you can bank on. I believe elite sports, whether it's football, basketball, track, basketball, tennis, golf, whatever the case may be, there's a lot of times where you can continue to compound the information and your viewpoint going through the process of the business that you're going into to set yourself up for success and use it as a catalyst to a career that you can truly bank on, whether it's in the sport, adjacent to the sport, and different things of that nature. So here at Blue Chip Academy, our goal is to provide you guys with the intel, best practices, in-depth knowledge of everything around the recruiting business and how it connects to your path in which you want to go for the rest of your life, but both on and off the field. So when we talk about it, we jump into it. One of the first things that we always talk, just in football, other sports, but specifically football, is getting that opportunity to move on to the next level. So when we just talk about that, being a former recruiting coordinator, one of the things, and just we talked about it in podcasts and different things of that nature, is the speed, right? Speed's not everything. I know I had ran a fast 40 time back in my day, and sometimes it comes off as if, I'm pressing because that's something that I did well. But really, when I started working in football, that's the one metric that when you want to talk about opens doors for opportunities, whether it's you just don't even like football and you just want to get to college and get that free degree and have your parents not pay $250,000 or just be in debt. There's a lot of value in running a fast 40 time to get a scholarship offer and playing college football. Obviously, there's a lot of other things that go into it with the game going into being more, I can't even say specialized, but just the talent evaluation being more robust now that you have the transfer portal, you have NIL opportunities and value being placed on players at a younger age. So the one thing that we always try to talk about with recruits just coming up is just the easiest way to get a scholarship offer is running a 40-yard dash. And so one of the pain points that I used to see just working in football, whether it was high school to college to professionals, is that 40-yard dash. That's like an underwriting metric that a lot of coaches use to dictate talent, right? And sometimes we can get into things like, speed's not everything, or a 40-yard dash isn't the most accurate thing. But like when these coaches are putting their jobs on the line, whether it's the NFL or college, the 40-yard dash, their clock, it matters. So it's beneficial to understand how you can run. I've seen great players with excellent film and run slow 40s and just not get an opportunity to open certain doors. So like the first service that we provide here at Blue Chip Academy is our 40 Tech service, which is a 4-part in-depth technical 40 sessions, four separate 40 sessions that break down the 40-yard dash, getting guys ready for camps, getting ready for a pre-draft workout, whatever the case may be. What the ultimate goal is understanding how your body mechanics work into a full sprint and how to efficiently run a 40-yard dash, right? There's things that you got to do, obviously being strong, flexible, just a level of quick twitch muscles that you have to have in place and training that you have to do. But there's a technical aspect to running a 40 to where you want to do it the most efficient way to get the best time, shaving off 2 times, whatever, shaving off different times off your 40 time and just opening up those opportunities. So that would be our first service that we provide here at Blue Chip Academy is our 40 tech service. Anybody ever interested in that, you can always make an inquiry on the website at www.ligsports.com and follow the things and just reach out and schedule those things that up. But when it's on the field at Blue Chip Academy, that's probably the only time that we have a service that's on the field. And the reason that that's the one service that we provide on the field is that's the one metric that kind of measures out to money, right? Like when I'm seeing getting a scholarship offer, going to NFL, like that's the metric that helps. So like we kind of master the critical points, helping people get to that piece in the first business interview, whether it's at camp or different things of that nature. That's our first service is the 40 tech service. Any questions, please sure just to drop them into the chat box and I'll get back to them, or, drop me an email at jking@ligsports.com. Always open to help. Just knowing that 40-yard dash is a important piece. Like I said, going through playing high school, I've mentioned it on my podcast, but, I got my first scholarship offer before I played in 9th grade. And I was very aware that it was because of my 40-yard dash and running track and knowing how to properly run a 40-yard dash. But 40 Tech is our first service at L.I.G Sports Group, Blue Chip Academy. So the next thing that we want to get into is like just understanding, right? It's cool to get an offer. It's good to understand how to run when you're going to camps and different things of that nature. But like having a full understanding of what the process is going to entail is like kind of the next part where we're going to get into, and just kind of understanding the recruiting and football biz masterclass and just understanding the point and purpose of that, right? When you're entering in 8th grade, 9th grade, and you're going to your first camps, understanding where do you want to go? Because like the one pain point that I always see is kind of people going in open and trying to find like their best fit to what the ecosystem or what the environment sheds to them. And that, I don't believe that's the right way. You got to kind of understand what you want to go. You got to understand yourself. You got to understand what you want to study. You got to understand what your skill set is to understand when you're targeting these different schools and trying to find that match for you, that you're kind of being objective in that, but like on your side, right? Like when I say objective on that, like not having an emotional decision, but understanding that when you're putting your criteria together, that is coming from a place of like what matters to you. Like, all right, the culture of the school matters to me. Me playing early matters. Going to the NFL matters. Playing for this type of coach matters, right? Like loose examples. Understanding those different aspects that go into that decision and how it happens, right? Like, okay, those are the things that matters. This is when you need to start the process. This is when we need to go. And there's so many different things in the recruiting and football ecosystem that are just that tricky, right? Because everybody's path is unique. There's best practices. There's, there's probabilities of like, okay, this many guys are going to get offered in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. And you might not know where you fit or like why certain players get offered and why other players don't, why, quarterbacks need to present themselves this way, why defensive linemen need to present themselves this way. Are you a developmental player? Are you a plug and play player? Are you somebody that needs to take the transfer, go small school and take the transfer portal route to move up? Do you somebody that needs the gray shark? Just different things that kind of go along with that plan and starting from 8th, 9th grade. And that's kind of where we come in with the Football Biz Masterclass, which gives a full overview of the complete football ecosystem and recruiting process. What are teams trying to figure out? Like when you're trying to find the right environment, the right culture for yourself, you need to understand what the pain points are for that team. Like it's like matching two things up. You need to see the gaps and where your gaps fit so you can find the best match. Hear a lot of stuff about guys being bust, whether they're highly rated recruits, how they're being judged. And a lot of times that I've seen guys that not make it or, have a tough time in college or at the next level is literally a fit. Sometimes not fitting right with the coach, not fitting right with the environment. And just that maturation process, getting to college, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, you're dealing with a lot of those things, and there's some guys that are plugged in, like you're trying to create leverage for yourself, whether it's in comfort, leveraging yourself in just acumen in school, football, like leveraging yourself on like your dynamic qualities. Because at the end of the day, the way the football is set up is to make you a commodity. And that's perfectly fine. Like the numbers don't make sense if you're not commoditized. But your goal to make yourself a business, to make yourself beyond a product, make yourself beyond a product and a business is to make yourself special, right? And find those areas in where you specialize or where you can provide the most value. So understanding what teams are trying to figure out is something that we'll also talk about in the Recruiting and Football Biz Masterclass. And understanding, what you need to do to like make that fit, and understanding there's a value proposition for both sides, right? The team has one for you and you have one for the team. So we'll go through those different things on that part. And then the blueprint. From 9th to 12th grade, we always want to know like where we're at, right? We see guys getting offered at different areas of their career, and we really never really know where it comes from. Like, oh, does this coach know somebody? Is it because they went to camp early? Is he friends with this coach? And we'll look out for the different reasons of what happens, right? Like in 9th grade, you talk about spreading the net as soon as far, like very far. At this time, we got coaches that are just open to getting people in the bucket. We got to see them if they got big paws on a small puppy. Let's see if they grow. Like there's time for that maturation process to go, but you want to continue to get yourself, even in that 9th grade aspect or 9th grade year, you really want to get yourself in that outlier status where you're getting in there and in front of coaches. And like, if you got big paws or if you run fast or if you have a different level of skill set, there's a developmental curve, but you want to like make that first impression in 9th grade, right? And like understanding that evaluation process for coaches and for programs, depending on the level and where you're at, they change along the way. And so like that's another section of course, we'll go through the 9th through 12th grade blueprint, which you should be expecting, how the coaches are going to be looking at you and all those different things. And we talk about getting your blueprint and everything ready. Hold on one second. Let me see. That's a good question. I'll get back to you on that. But back to, we talk about like when you finally get to college and everything that's going on now, like the college landscape is different, right? Like when you're making your decisions, you got NIL, you got the transfer portal, you got educational benefits. It's just like it's a new normal in college football, right? We hear college coaches calling each other out about paying players or buying players. And you really need to get to the thick of things of what's really happening in the deal flow in these different schools. Not to base all your decision on, but you want to get as many pixels of the school so you're making the best decision that you can. So in the current college football landscape, we'll go over the transfer portal, NIL, educational benefits, and all those good things in the football course. The last section of the course is when you're obviously getting recruited and you want to go through and you're making this business decision, right? You're a teenager making a business decision with your parents, and you're going to be wanting to go to school. So there's a level your parents need to let the reins go, and you're going to have to hit this maturation process full tilt and grow up. So there's a level of understanding that this is an emotional decision. It's not a 3-4 year decision. It's not who's giving out the biggest NIL bag. I know I can say that because, I'm not in it right now, but the real bags in the NFL, and there's obviously, if you do this research and different things like that, you'll see what schools you can really get the bag at when you get there and the opportunities from where you provide once you get there to the school. So we're talking about how to make that decision, whether it's like based on the overall program, is it like a winning culture, like there's opportunities to succeed post-football, like are there NIL opportunities, go into the university, things outside of football, right? Because we're holistic. We're not just monolithic people. We're not just football players and different things like that. So please do not go to school and not take something from it. You have to go there with the idea of like, man, I'm rolling with something, a degree, connections, money, something. Like you got something to offer, you have something of value, and that's when you want to look. So we're going through and understanding how to evaluate that. Where's the location of the university? Like, are they close to power cities? Where are the power alumni? Like, how do you connect with those during the NIL period? So when you have that open door access as an athlete, that you can set yourself up for real impactful things after the sport, not just a fictitious story that you're telling yourself about, oh, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that when I get done. What's up with the head coach, man? Is he on the hot seat? Is he ready to roll? Is he somebody that blows smoke? Is he consistent with his word? We'll go through all of these different things: position coach, position group success, unit success, because these are all the different things, the culture of the team, the strength and conditioning coach, the geographic location. All these things go into like the process and your enjoyment in college. Not only your enjoyment, but like what you actually benefit and get value from that school, from that maturation process, moving up, whether you're coming out of football, working into corporate America, starting your own business, whatever the case may be. You'll be so surprised where this decision in college is going to be like a nucleus of like all your tentacles or your roots of the tree that you're going to continue to grow. So that's why I kind of get into this, because like everything that we talk about at L.I.G, from the parent company, which is the executive sports consulting, is like all these things kind of come back to the relations at the Blue Chip Academy. So in here, when we talk about Blue Chip Academy, I want everybody to realize that we talk about blue chip and you hear it in the standpoint of an athlete. I mean, when we talk about Blue Chip Academy here, we're thinking of it more in terms of a desirable asset, in terms of a stock, like continuing to be that desirable asset from a 13-year-old from high school to college. Be that desirable asset when you get to college so you can get onto the field and live out those opportunities that you're given. Be the desirable asset in the classroom so you can get that degree and get first dibs at that top internship. Being that desired asset when you get into corporate America, you get to the NFL. Like all these different things, we're going through this process of like a merit-based process where we can continue to hone those different skills and be that desirable asset, regardless if we're in football, out of football, and all the way up, as we can see through the Blueprints of Success interview series. That's why I'm interviewing a lot of players and just showing like that process. What were they thinking in high school? What were they thinking when they got to college? What were the transition points? And how they found their way to using sports as a career that they can bank on. And like for that whole purpose of them doing that and sharing those tactical insights and knowledge with us and sharing their story is to speed up that process and that gap, right? We see the different things or the outcomes, whether it's a discrepancy in black head coaches in the NFL, college football, ADs, a lot of different places. And you'd be surprised how many, from where I've seen, a lot of the talent comes through this process and get lost through that recruiting process. So we're here to kind of reclaim some of that. So, I mean, that's a long-term situation, but just understanding the whole vision of what Blue Chip Academy is. And we're creating desirable assets that use sports as a catalyst to a career that they can bank on and continue to move out throughout this whole sports ecosystem. And so, so like everything on there, going through that Blue Chip checklist and understanding how to evaluate. So like at the point is when you're done going through the recruiting and football biz masterclass, you have a full understanding of like the comprehensive view. Like, all right, I'm getting recruited like this. This is what the school wants. This is what I'm looking at. And so you have as many pixels and information to make the best decision for you. Because at the end of the day, it's about gaining leverage in everything that you're doing. Like as a recruit, again, from the other side, my whole goal was, as soon as I found somebody that I liked, that I really liked as a prospect, my number one thing was like, I can't leave the building until I find someone that I like just as much or if not better. So just for whatever reason, if that player decides to, go, not want to play football anymore, not as good as I think, or doesn't return my text or call, I mean, there's no pressure on me when I have to hit him up because there's another one. And trust me, I'll always find another one. But it's up to you, player, family, to like continue to be that desirable asset constantly. Like there's no letdown. So Football Biz Masterclass gives a nice overview, in-depth view on the football ecosystem, the business practices, different things, and how you can matriculate and move yourself through this ecosystem in the best way possible. So there we have the 40 Tech service, and then we have football and the recruiting and football biz masterclass. And so finally, when we talk about, Blue Chip Academy, there's an aspect of it's an academy where you're learning and continuing to grow. And so the last part that we have is understanding where you actually are, right? Like understanding what your true evaluation is. Because when people get into football, the one thing that I see all the time is there's not like a true outside source or third party that's giving evaluations, right? It's either a recruiting service like 247 that's giving rankings and feedback. UC Report does a good job, but a lot of times they're, the jockeying sources for schools when it comes to that standpoint. So like a lot of, you get a lot of offers. Sometimes players overvalue themselves more than their real evaluation or how coaches really feel about you. And so like the best thing that I always know is like if you're playing poker, which is pretty much the recruiting game is like what hand are you holding really and how powerful is it, right? So like that's kind of what it comes down to is like a lot of decisions are made sometimes just from a lack of awareness of where the best fit is from you from just a standpoint of the tools that you're bringing to the table, like or where you at point A in ninth grade, where you need to be at point B by the time you get to 12th grade or Z, I guess, where you get to 12th grade, and what are those steps to get to your blueprints of success, right? So that's like the thing that really gets people off because we can do everything right and just have the wrong sense of self-awareness and how to kind of go through these different steps, regardless of doing the class, regardless of running a good 40, and just still getting lost within the process because, I mean, coaches change on a day-to-day basis. Evaluations change. Some people develop, some people don't. Like trauma happens to certain players and other players get a chance to like close that gap, man. I'm seeing a lot of different things throughout this football ecosystem that really not really surprised by much. So when we talk about getting into that last piece, and just like our most hands-on like service would be our Blueprint to Success recruiting, NIL, and player development support program, and that is essentially a holistic blueprint to success for player development tailored to the player and football career. Right, you go to head coach evaluation, what you need to get better at, what you need to get better at, what do you need to continue to strengthen, and like your overall evaluation and like the steps of getting better. And we'll start off with like a SPQ 20, which is a sports personality questionnaire, understanding the internal makeup, your competitive nature, how you deal with adversity. We break down all these different aspects. And again, the roadmap, an evaluation of what I would give to a Power 5 head coach, the ones that know me or the people that you've seen come on to the Blueprints of Success, where we've had, like I said, coaches, head coaches, recruiting coordinators, executives, and different people of that nature. But if I was writing them a report about a player, what I would write to them. So I take my word, and my evals are, I think, pretty solid. So like that's a piece of it. So you have like a true roadmap, and then you get a couple calls with me on a monthly basis to give you some recruiting insights and answer your questions along the process, and along with some football and recruiting business courses throughout the year period. So that would be our Blueprint to Success recruiting, NIL, and player development package. That's more of having me as your personal coach along the process. You get what I naturally, authentically feel about your film, about you, talking to you, and we really come up with a true plan on how to maximize this football process, along with the different aspects of, the tentacles of L.I.G Sports Group then become a part of your ecosystem when you become a member of the Blue Chip Academy from that standpoint. So that's probably our most intensive service, where we're doing the evaluation and we're just kind of seeing you along the path, and that's tuition-based fee schedule, and that's the last part. So that's just a recap. We got the 40 tech service when we're talking about getting money on the field. Like the one thing that brings opportunities from the Blue Chip Academy standpoint and the intro to the business is showing up on that 40. So we have the 40 tech service. Then we have a recruiting and football biz masterclass. This gives an overall view, so you're going through the process and having a full understanding of how you need to navigate on your own, right? And like there's 23 videos taught by me going over the different processes that are in college, how things are being evaluated, where things are moving towards, and I've become a resource for you as well with that. And the last thing is the Blueprint to Success recruiting, NIL, and player development support program. And that's like your full throttle. You have me, and then it's a matter of getting that full evaluation, internal, external, getting your film, having a true roadmap and blueprint to success, right? From my standpoint, for where I think a head coach, if I was writing an eval to a head coach, what that would be. We have a objective view when we do the assessment with the SPQ 20, which I think is extremely valuable and is very good for players to know where your deficiencies are so you can continue to get better. So like the earlier the better with those things, and the actual blueprints of success, like what you want to do, where you want to go. And this is how we close those gaps. And a resource in me throughout the process with a couple calls a month and a little bit of a lesson every couple months to go along with that, to have a full understanding, not only on the field, but understanding the business that you are in, man. You guys are spending a lot of time, going out to workouts, on the weekends, going to personalized trainers and different things like that. And it's all focused, on the field, and it's like everything else. And even when we talk about like the acumen of the game, that's still on the field. So like everything that we're talking about is like all the tentacles that come off in the business that you're in. So when someone comes to you about, this is a business, this is that, you have an understanding of how to maneuver, and it's bringing it down. So kind of tie that up here, but like that is the Blue Chip Academy, powered by L.I.G Sports Group. So if anybody has any questions or anything, please feel free, drop any comments down here. We'll have the promo code to the recruiting and football biz masterclass. Anybody want to jump on that through this webinar and get started? And obviously, there's links to connect with me on the website, www.ligsports.com/Blue Chip Academy. All the information is there. Continue to check in on the podcast and be dropping good information along the way. So appreciate everyone jumping in. Let's see if there's any questions before I go. Well, yeah. And if not, you can always shoot me an email. Like I said, jking@ligsportsgroup.com, and continue to grow this thing. And again, welcome to Blue Chip Academy.